The sky above was a canvas of bruised purple and angry gray, the clouds churning like a troubled sea. A lone girl stood in the vast open field, a solitary figure against the impending wrath of nature. The wind, a restless spirit, howled around her, whipping strands of her dark hair across her face, momentarily blinding her. She paid it no mind, her focus entirely on the small, fragile hut that was her only sanctuary. With determined movements, she worked to reinforce its structure, bracing the walls and securing the thatched roof. Her small frame a stark contrast to the immense power gathering above. The air grew heavy, thick with the scent of rain and damp earth, a final tense silence before the inevitable deluge. The first drop of rain was a warning, quickly followed by a torrent. The heavens opened, and a relentless downpour lashed the landscape, turning the dry field into a muddy mire. The girl fought against the wind's fierce assault, her body leaning into the gale as she made one last desperate attempt to secure a loose panel. Her clothes were soaked through, clinging to her skin, and exhaustion was beginning to etch fine lines onto her young face. Yet her eyes held a glint of unwavering resolve. Finally retreating into her small hut, she found little respite. Water dripped from the ceiling, forming small persistent puddles on the earthen floor. Fear, cold and sharp, pricked at her, but she refused to surrender. Her gaze darted around the dim interior, identifying each leak, each weakness, and with a deep breath, she began to plug them with whatever she could find. The storm reached its terrifying crescendo. A brilliant fork of lightning split the sky, followed by a deafening clap of thunder that seemed to shake the very foundations of the earth. In that fleeting, stark illumination, the world outside was a chaotic blur of wind and water. Then, a gust of wind, stronger and more violent than any before, slammed into the hut. A section of the wall groaned in protest before collapsing inward with a splintering crash, leaving a gaping hole to the raging storm. For a single heart-stopping moment, the girl stared at the destruction, her face a mask of devastation. The fight seemed to drain from her, leaving only despair. But then something shifted in her eyes. The despair was replaced by a flicker of defiance, which grew into a steady flame. She clenched her small hand into a tight fist, her knuckles white. With renewed purpose, she moved towards the fallen debris. Her movements no longer just about survival, but about rebuilding. Slowly, almost imperceptibly, the fury of the storm began to wane. The deafening roar of the wind softened to a mournful sigh, and the torrential rain eased into a gentle patter. A single golden ray of sunlight pierced through a break in the clouds, casting a warm, hopeful glow upon the ravaged land. The girl, weary and covered in mud, paused in her work. She tilted her head back, her face turned towards the light, closing her eyes as the warmth touched her skin. A small, genuine smile graced her lips, a testament not to a victory over the storm, but to the indomitable strength she had discovered within herself. She had weathered the tempest and, in the quiet aftermath, stood not broken, but remade.